Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Thrive in 5 podcast. Today I am doing another little Q&A and I am theming this Q&A, do I actually have to? I get a lot of questions in my inbox and a lot of questions on discovery calls kind of along the lines of, do I actually have to do insert item here in order to lose weight? Do I actually have to do it? And the answer is always kind of it depends. There is no black and white answer in anything that I do. I'd love to be able to give a really simple yes, no answer to some of these questions because it'd be a very short episode. But unfortunately, that's not in reality how it works in practice, and that's not how my coaching works. It's not how health and fitness works in reality. So what I'm going to do today is answer the two most common, do I actually have to questions, and explain some of the nuance behind them. The first one I get, and this is one I get a lot from people who are wanting to lose weight and are maybe frustrated with the process, is do I actually have to track calories to lose weight? And the reason I tend to get this question is because people feel like calorie tracking is obsessive, is restrictive, it stops them being able to enjoy their life, it takes up too much time, it's too much effort. And the short answer is, and I know I said there weren't any short answers, but the short answer is no, you don't have to track calories in order to lose weight. But, and this is a really big but, the most important but, weight loss happens when you're in a calorie deficit. If you want to lose weight, you need to make sure that you are eating less calories than you are using. So the question is, if you're not going to track your calories, how are you going to make sure that you are in that deficit? Calorie tracking apps and tools like MyFitnessPal or NutriCheck or Chronometer or some of the AI ones that exist now, they are a really new phenomenon in the world of weight loss. MyFitnessPal, which is the original sort of calorie tracker, that was released back in 2005, and even then it was nowhere near as usable as it is now. I remember when it became a really accessible app that you could use on your phone really consistently, and that was probably in 2010, 2011. I used it at university in about 2014, and it was pretty rubbish back then, but it was usable at least. You could, before then, and even at that point, you could get little calorie tracking books that you could look foods up in. My mum had one when I was growing up where you could go and look at the food and work out how many calories were in it. But they were complicated, they were hard to use. Most people who were kind of tracking calories often got information from magazines and things like that. Any diet that you do, whether it is the Atkins diet, the 5-2 diet, keto, low fat, vegan, special K, the reason all those diets work when it comes to weight loss is because they get you into a deficit. They just do that by getting you to replace meals with cereal, or to cut out certain food groups, or to prioritize certain food groups, or to just go really hungry for a couple of days. They all work by getting you into a deficit. They're not magic. No food means you lose weight. Being in a calorie deficit does. And tracking calories is a really useful tool when it comes to weight loss because it gives you awareness of what you're eating. Most people, and actually the research on this, little sidebar, the research they've done on this in terms of most people tend to underestimate how much they're having. They actually did this research with personal trainers, people whose job it is to think about their nutrition. Most people for whom that's the case, they underestimate how much they're having. It applies to everybody. We all do it. We all naturally underestimate how many calories we're having. So tracking helps us to bridge that gap between what we think is happening and what is actually happening. It's also a really great way to ensure that you can keep eating everything you enjoy and still lose weight, because unlike, keto or Atkins or being low fat or whatever, you don't have to cut out any food groups in order to lose weight. If you wanted to, you could fill your calories with Krispy Kremes and still lose weight. It gives you complete control of your diet. It gives you choice. It means you're not following a meal plan. You're not following a rule. The only rule is it has to be within your deficit. It gives you control of your choices, which is really, really positive. I get that it can be a little bit annoying to do. I get that it can feel time consuming. It's not once you get into the hang of it, and when you use some of the tips and tricks that we use in the TFP to make it easier, it's not that time consuming. I tracked my calories for years. I'm not doing it now, but because I'm not dieting, I have no reason to. But I did when I was dieting, and when I was also looking to put on muscle mass, and I've tracked my calories for years, and I could probably do it without even thinking about it. In fact, I remember once my coach being like, "Have you tracked your food this week?" And I was like, I don't know. And I went into MyFitnessPal and I tracked everything, but I'd forgotten I'd done it because it was all something I was doing on autopilot. It doesn't have to be time consuming, and it doesn't have to be obsessive. It doesn't have to be something that takes over your whole life. It doesn't have to be something where you obsess about every gram. I have a lot of clients who come to me who have struggled with calorie tracking in the past and have felt that it's not for them, or they've asked this exact question, do I actually have to track calories? And we've tried it and they don't struggle anymore, because since joining the TFP and using our food flexibility framework and using our particular approach to calorie tracking, it doesn't feel restrictive anymore. All of that said, I totally get that calorie tracking is not for everyone. For some people, calorie tracking can lead to disordered eating. If you are someone who has a history of eating disorders, it's definitely not right for you. If you are somebody who just finds that way of approaching food, it leads to negative behaviours around food or negative body image, and there might be points in someone's journey where that is true. I have clients who are working with me now where we've stepped away from calorie tracking for a period of time. Their goal is still weight loss, but we've just moved away from it for a period of time because it wasn't working for them for a multitude of reasons, lifestyle factors, mental health factors, all of those things. It has its place. I'll use myself as an example. I'm not dieting anymore, so I'm not tracking my calories. And that's a really important thing for me to do for my relationship with food for a multitude of reasons, but it doesn't mean that calorie tracking doesn't have its place and won't maybe one day in the future have its place for me. It's just not the right thing for me right now. As I say, I also have team members and teams like ladies I work with who don't track their calories at all because it's not the right thing for them either at all or at this moment in time. And what we do instead is do things like focus on using a food diary and photo tracking just to be more aware of the food you're eating. We focus on portion sizes, on plate structure, on meal structure through the day, on making swaps, on prioritizing certain food groups. Being honest though, being very honest, using these other methods that I've just talked about, that tends to mean that fat loss is slower because it's just less accurate. It's a less accurate way of securing yourself into a deficit. It tends to have benefits in other areas in terms of being more intuitive around food, etc., but it does tend to be slower. And if it's a choice in my mind, and this is how I always approach anything in coaching, if it's a choice between something that is slow and sustainable or something that is fast and unsafe, I will always choose the slow and sustainable option. So long answer to the question is no, you don't have to calorie track, but you do need to have some level of awareness around what you're eating if your goal is weight loss, because ultimately you've got to get into a deficit somehow. And in my mind, for the majority of people, calorie tracking in some format and using the sort of flexibility approach that we have is the best way to secure yourself into a deficit. It's the way that gives you the most freedom and the most flexibility. That said, there are other options if it's not the right thing for you. Okay, the second question that I get a lot, and this is a question actually that's come up on maybe my last 5 or 6 discovery calls, is something along the lines of, do I actually have to exercise to lose weight? Because I just don't enjoy it. I just don't enjoy exercise. Do I have to do it? That question I get asked so often, and it comes up a lot. And the thing is, a lot of us have really bad experiences with exercise, myself included. Like, I hated exercise as a kid. I hated sports at school. I was an overweight kid. I was never the one who was picked for teams. If ever I was picked for a team, it didn't last very long. I hated running. I hated all of it. I hated the stupid little shorts and the little netball skirts that look really cute on the skinny girls, but on someone like me who was not skinny, it just made me look like a barrel in a kilt. It was just, it was horrible. And I took a lot of that negativity around exercise into adulthood. And the honest answer is, like, for weight loss, no, you don't need to exercise in the form of workouts in the gym and cardio and the Stairmaster and fitness classes or any of that stuff. To lose weight, as we said in the previous answer, it's a case of energy in, energy out. And in reality, a workout, so going to the gym, doing a class, going for a run, that actually burns very, very few calories when you compare it to how many calories you use in the rest of your day. So the kind of estimate we tend to go with is about 5% of your total daily energy expenditure is from a workout, whereas sort of 15 to 20% is through movement through the day that's nothing to do with exercise. So things like walking, steps, moving around a bit more, talking with your hands, blinking, moving your head, just being kind of generally active. That is the thing that burns the most energy that we have control over. So if your goal is weight loss, you'd be far better off focusing on your calories in food and movement in general, steps, walking, etc. If your goal is weight loss, like, that is the fact. And I think in the fitness industry, there's a lot of like, and then I think this is changing recently, but there's been a lot of focus on exercise to lose weight. You know, you get in the gym after Christmas to burn off body fat. You know, you join the gym to lose weight, you join fitness classes to lose weight, when in reality that's a complete myth. Going to the gym is not going to necessarily help you lose weight unless you're focusing on that equation of energy in, energy out. All of that said though, I am not saying that you don't have to exercise, because exercise is about so much more than losing weight. And if you are approaching exercise as a way to burn calories, I'm not surprised you don't enjoy it, because it makes it really fucking miserable. It makes it so depressing if the only reason you are exercising is to change your body, because there are so many other benefits to exercise. Exercise, it's, you know, if you want to change your body, it is the thing that is going to help your body change shape. You know, it's going to help you build muscle. If you want to look toned, you need to have muscle mass. That's a fact. So if you want to look toned, you need to be exercising in a way that helps you to maintain or build muscle mass in some way, so that when your body fat comes off, there is enough muscle there to show through. Also, from a general health perspective, we know it is really beneficial for life expectancy to be doing exercise 2 to 3 times a week, in terms of managing kind of general health, immune health, you know, reducing risk of heart disease, diabetes, certain cancers, like all of those things. We know exercise is beneficial to help support a healthy lifestyle. It's also really beneficial just for your general health and well-being. Your day-to-day digestion improves with exercise. Sleep will improve if you're exercising. Your skin health, hair health, like all of those things will benefit from doing some form of exercise. I could go on and on about like how good it is for you from a physical health perspective. Mental health, we know how good it is for mental health. The endorphin rush you get from exercise, you don't hate it, it's fine. Like, it's a really important thing, and it's a really important thing that you want to be trying to include. So if you are someone who this applies to, where you say, I just don't enjoy exercise, I'm going to challenge you and say that I don't believe you don't enjoy all exercise, because I bet you enjoyed dancing in a nightclub when you were at uni. I bet you enjoy running around with your friends and having a laugh. I bet you enjoy going for a walk when you go shopping. Like, I bet there are forms of movement you enjoy. I bet it is not the case that the only thing you enjoy is sitting down. I am sure that's not the case. I am sure there is some form of exercise in some format. I'm sure you enjoy having sex. Like, I'm sure there are forms of exercise that you enjoy. I always used to say that I didn't enjoy exercise, because in reality, I didn't love cross country at school or being forced to play netball. I didn't enjoy the shitty gym instructors who made me feel terrible. I was always treating exercise as a punishment. So of course I hated it. It's weird that I was the kid who hated sports at school, because it's now kind of my job to love exercise. So challenge yourself. You know, why? This is a question I'll often ask someone when they say they don't enjoy exercise. We might not get into doing, you know, workouts straight away when they join the TFP, but we'll have a conversation at some point during their program where I'll kind of go, okay, why do we not enjoy exercise? Why do you hate it? Do you hate getting sweaty? Do you hate feeling like a beginner? Do you hate not knowing how to do it? Do you hate that it takes up time that you could spend on other things? Do you hate having to wash your hair afterwards? Do you hate the clothes you have to wear to do it? Do you just find it really boring? Whatever the reason is, there is a way to overcome it. So for me, it was a combination of factors that meant I hated exercise. I used to hate getting sweaty, because whenever I exercised and got hot and sweaty, I looked like a big shiny tomato. Like, I looked like a tomato that had been drenched in fairy liquid. I was so red and sweaty, and I still get red and sweaty when I do cardio. So when I first started getting into exercise, and I first started trying to find exercise that I enjoyed, I went for things that didn't make me hot and sweaty. And that's why I got into lifting weights, because I just hated getting out of breath. I hated getting sweaty. I was asthmatic. So every time I went outside, I felt like I was wheezing away. So I focused on lifting weights to begin with. I also used to hate feeling like a beginner. That was a real thing I hated. I hated putting myself in an environment where I'd be exposed as a beginner. So I worked with a coach to really nail my form and technique. I did a lot of training at home before I went into the gym, because that helped me to get myself a bit more confident before I then went and got myself into the gym. I also used to find exercise so boring. I used to hate just like going on the treadmill, or the idea of going for a run. I couldn't figure out how that was enjoyable. So I found different ways to make the exercise I was doing fun. So when I started going to the gym and lifting weights, I didn't just go to the gym. I got some really good music on. I made sure it was fun. I had a reward afterwards. I started going with people to make it more enjoyable. And now all of those things aren't true. I actually quite enjoy getting hot and sweaty now, because I've built up a sense of fitness. I've got myself more comfortable with it. I found exercise that I enjoy, and I can kind of bear the cost of getting hot and sweaty. I still hate washing my hair after the gym, but dry shampoo is amazing. I used to hate feeling like a beginner. I now actually really like that feeling, because I like the feeling of challenging myself and overcoming something, but I didn't used to, and I've had to kind of work to get there. And now I don't find exercise boring in the way that I used to. I used to find running so dull, whereas now I really enjoy it because I found ways to make it enjoyable. I found ways and goals I've set that make it more fun. The thing is, with any form of exercise, there are so many ways to move your body. It's not just going to the gym or going on the treadmill or going for a run. Walking, hiking, yoga, Pilates, swimming, sports. I'm just on a tennis club, learning to play a sport, playing paddle, something like that. Just dancing around your kitchen, sticking on a YouTube video that's a little workout and doing that at home. Finding different ways to move your body and finding a way that you enjoy is really important. Yes, you should actually do some exercise, no matter what your goal is, but how that exercise looks depends on what you want to do. And rather than saying, and there's a little bit of free coaching here, rather than saying, oh, I just hate exercise, challenge yourself. Like, what do you hate about exercise? And find a form of exercise that allows you to overcome some of those objections. Because ultimately, if you want to live a long, happy, healthy, enjoyable life, exercise is going to have to be a part of it. So let's find a way to make it fun. And that's a big part of what I do at the TFP, is helping people to find a form of exercise they enjoy, because it should be enjoyable. I hope those have that has given you some kind of insight, some food for thought. That's given you some bits to think about. If you have any questions about anything I've just chatted through, please just pop me a message. My Instagram handle is in the episode description. Have a wonderful rest of your day whenever you are listening to this, and I will catch you next time.